Hi everyone, Sebastian here. So today I want to talk about the differences between Lagree 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. So Lagree 1.0 is essentially your analog manual version. This is the method that has been evolving literally for the past 25 years, right? You show up to class and then manually, verbally, you'll tell people the tempo, you'll tell them how many springs they need, they change their own springs, you'll try to explain about the form, the range of motion, and so on. Everything is communicated verbally, okay? And the advantage of this is that you don't need any electronics, you don't need to plug in the machines, you don't care if there's an electricity, power outlet or not, you don't care, everything's done verbally and manual. So I can take my micro on the beach, no problem, I don't need to plug them in, I can take to the mountain, and so on, all right? And this is great, okay? This is great because it's very simple. But the problem is there's a limitation on how much we can evolve the workout when it's all done analogically, okay? Analogically, I'm not sure if that's a word, analog, okay, whatever, okay? So, as you know me, I'm always trying to make things easier for myself, but also like to do things differently, okay? When I do something one way, then very quickly my mind already figures out, okay, how can I improve this, okay? So a few years ago, I've always wanted to change the springs electronically. I just saw that, there was always a problem when I have 18, 20 people in class. I'll tell people use a black and a red spring. And then when I go through the rank, I realize that person never had a red and a black spring. They had a different spring setting and so on. So there was a lot of consideration. There was a lot of, there was a strong desire to have, I want to have a remote control spring change so that I need to make sure that everybody is on the same spring, especially now that the studios are getting bigger in size. When you have 30 people in class, or sometimes I do my macro events, I have 50 people on the lawn, it's very hard for me to make sure that everybody has the same spring setting, okay? And you need to have the right spring when you work out, because if you don't have the right spring, sometimes you work the opposite muscle, right? Especially when you do a pulling or pushing exercise on the front of the machine. So initially, this was the big draw of doing a remote control spring change. And then the other thing also that was driving me crazy is the tempo. So in Lagree, you're supposed to use progressive overloading. That means that you're supposed to slow people as they come to class, okay? So from one workout to another, you want to slowly start to slow down the tempo or increase the tempo so people move slower. And it's hard, the tempo, you can count the tempo verbally to 4, to 6. When you start to get an 8, a tempo of 8 counts and 10 counts, it becomes a very long time just to count down the tempo. So I thought that if we had lights, this would actually help to improve the communication and the quality of the lights. So about 4 years ago, I created the Evo 2. The Evo 2 was the first machine to actually do Lagree 2.0. And then I had to label it Lagree 2.0 because those technology completely transform the method. With Lagree 2.0, it's a different method, okay? Could have not been called in Lagree 1.1 or 1.2, it's 2.0. It's totally different. Because when you use that spring change, I call it the lightning spring change. I call it lightning because it's so fast. I press one button and all the machines have that spring change on that machine, right? So for the spring change, we have the quick release, which is a manual spring change. Then we have the super fast, which was much faster. This is lightning because it just impossible. I mean, it's just like in nanoseconds, all the machines are changed at the same time. So besides just the convenience of that, actually what I didn't realize when I started to use it is that you can actually introduce new training techniques, okay? You can go from pulling exercise to pushing exercise, pushing exercise to pulling exercise. It's remarkable. I can take you from a runner's lunge to an elevator lunge. I can take you from an elevator lunge to a runner's lunge, from a skating to a standing on the thighs, and so on. With you never having the need to get off the machine. As you work out, the tension underneath you changes and it transforms the exercise. It's amazing. We can train agonist and anti-agonist muscles back to back. It's incredible. We can get a muscle fatigue that is simply not achievable on the analog machine. And the best part about it, I can have 100 participants in class and it will work for 100 people at the same time. So this is a huge step forward for Lagree. And then the other inclusion was, of course, the tempo lights. So the tempo lights is you can literally change the speed indefinitely. So now I can have people at a tempo of 20 if I want to. Imagine if you had to count to a tempo of 20. Go out for 1 and breathe, out for 2 and breathe, out for 3 and breathe, out for 4 and breathe, out for 5 and breathe, out for 6. Do you want me to count to 20? Come on, guys. Okay? No way. You thought I was going to count to 20? No way, man. So that's why the lights are so important. Verbally, you can count to 4, 6, 8. After that, it's a fucking bore. Okay? So that means that your progressive overloading is going to be limited if you only speak it. But if you can show it with the light, you can go to a tempo of 30. You can go to a tempo of 40. There's no limit on how slow you can slow down those lights. So because of that, the method is completely altered. And years ago, I came out with the Evo 2, and the Evo 2 was this beautiful machine, right? And everybody wanted it. And so the problem with the Evo 2, though, is I'm having issues with electronics, right? So right now we have 3 studios in the world who have access to that technology. Trust me, I wish it would be more. So I'm doing all the research and developments to finish the technology and then essentially making sure that it's working. And now we have essentially a new company doing that for us, a new engineering firm. And so next year, we're going to reintroduce the Lagree 2.0. We're going to reintroduce the spring lightning exchange and the tempo light. And I'm very happy, and this is why I'm doing this video right now, because we're also working on Lagree 3.0. So Lagree 2.0, you need the remote control spring change and the tempo light. If you do not have these two, you cannot say you're a Lagree 2.0 teacher, and the studio cannot say it's Lagree 2.0 certified. It's just Lagree 1.0. If you have the lights on your machine, but you don't have the spring change, you're still Lagree 1.0. You need those two technologies to qualify for Lagree 2.0. To qualify for Lagree 3.0, you need to have these two technology, and on top of it, you need to have the range of motion lights and the panels. So if you have the Mega Pro right now, and you buy the range of motion lights, you still are not qualifying for Lagree 3.0 because you don't have the tempo lights and because you don't have the spring change. Now let's say you have your Mega Pro, you bought the tempo light, you bought the range of motion light, because these lights are retro compatible on the Mega Pro, the Micro Pro, and the Mini Pro. So you have your panels, you have your range of motion light, you have the tempo lights, but the one thing you are missing is that lightning spring change, right? The electronic, the wireless, the remote spring change. You still cannot call yourself Lagree 2.0 or Lagree 3.0. You need all of the technology, and the technology is cumulative and to evolve from Lagree 2.0 to 3.0 and beyond. All right. And that's what I want to make sure that you have, that you understand. Next year, I'm going to introduce the Evo Pro. The Evo Pro will be the first machine to have the lightning spring change, to have the range of motions lights, to have the tempo lights and the panels. So next year, the Evo Pro will be the first machine to be officially rated for Lagree 3.0. Next year, we're going to have the lights coming out, so you can start using the lights at your studio. But when you use the lights, remember, you're still not qualified to call yourself Lagree 2 or 3.0. You will need at least the Evo Pro to call it Lagree 3.0. We have the Evo X coming out. The Evo X will also be rated for Lagree 3.0. We have the Mega X also coming out. The Mega X will also be rated for Lagree 3.0. We have the Mini X coming out. The Mini X will be rated for Lagree 3.0. So as you can see, I'm going to start to apply that technology in all the models. We have a Micro X coming out next year, but I'm not sure if the Micro X will ever be upgradable to a Lagree 2 or Lagree 3.0, simply because the Micro is such a small machine that I'm not sure if we will have figured out a way to change the springs wirelessly or remotely. There is plan to create a Micro where you have a remote control spring change, because the Micro is the perfect machine actually for that technology, since usually you have 50, 60, 70, or 100 micros on the lawn. So that's actually the perfect machine to use that technology. So don't worry, I will come up with a version of the Micro using the technology. I'm just not sure when it's coming out. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, recommendations, suggestions about this video, if you're lost, you don't understand, please email me, let me know. Okay, my name is Sébastien Lagree. Thank you for watching.